Hi everyone, welcome to the guided notes video for the quadratics and polynomials unit. This is on notes 4, specifically on factor by grouping. In the previous video, in factoring quadratics or factoring polynomials, I had referenced and done a quick little summary of factor by grouping, but I'm going to do it a little bit more in depth here. And there will be the solutions posted in Teams to all of these problems. Okay, so let's get started. When I say factor each completely, I mean, well, see if there's a greatest common factor, and then factor by grouping, by splitting this into two pieces and greatest common factoring both sides, and then bringing it back together by grouping what we find. So first, split this into split this in half. If I see four terms, I know my first technique is greatest common factor. In this case, no greatest common factor between those four terms. Next, if I see four terms, I know that I am going to be grouping. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to treat this like it's one equation, two pieces. I'm going to take out an a squared. In fact, I'm going to take out a 3a squared. And then on the inside, I'm going to get 4a minus 3. Then on the right-hand side, I'm just going to factor out a 1 if there's nothing else that I can factor out. And I'm going to get 4a minus 3. This works out beautifully because when I have the same thing inside of the parentheses, I know that I've done this properly. And so I get 4a minus 3 as one factor. And then 3a, whatever's outside, becomes my second factor, 3a plus 1. And so that is the completely factored version of this, 4a minus 3 times 3a plus 1. Split it in half, greatest common factor, both sides, and then group those terms that they have in common back together. All right, here's another example. On the left-hand side, I looked at this, I said I can't take out a greatest common factor, so I'm going to factor out p squared, and on the inside get 2p plus 5. Now on the right-hand side, I can factor out a 3. 6 and 15 are divisible by 3, and I get 2p plus 5. Perfect. One of my factors is 2p plus 5. That's the grouping part here. The other factor is p squared plus 3. So what's inside is one factor, what's outside is another factor. Okay, scrolling down the page a bit, let's look at an example like number 9, where I've got a mix of letters and numbers, and it's more than just one letter. Okay, I'm going to look. I don't have a greatest common factor. At first, it looks like maybe it could be 5, but not everything can be divided by 5. So I've got a factor by grouping. I've got 4 terms, so factor by grouping. Take out an m on the left-hand side, and I get z minus 5h squared. Take out a negative 5 on the right, as well as an n, and I get z minus 5h squared. There it is. M minus 5n is one factor. What's on the outside? What's on the inside? Z minus 5h squared is my other factor. Okay, scrolling down here, let's look at one that looks a little bit more complicated. Let's look at something like 14, where maybe I can take out a greatest common factor. It looks like 90, 36, 150, and 60 can definitely all be divided by 6. They can't be divided by 10. They can't all be divided by 15. So let's go with 6 on this one. Let's take out a 6. 6 goes into 90. That would be 15 AU minus 6AV minus, let's see, 6 goes into 15 twice with 3 left over, so I believe that's 25 YU plus 10 YV. Okay, I couldn't take out any letters in common, but now I've at least got some smaller numbers to work with here, and I'm going to factor by grouping with my 4-term polynomial. I'm going to keep that 6, and then inside, what I'm going to do is look for a greatest common factor here. Okay, 15 and 6 are both divisible by 3 and by a, and so I end up with 5 5u minus 2v. On the right-hand side, I can factor out a negative 5 and a y. And so I end up with 5u minus 2v. So my answer here is 6 times parentheses 3a minus 5, the two terms that are on the outside of the parentheses, times the terms that are inside the parentheses. And that is my answer. Factor by grouping. All of the solutions are posted in a PDF in Teams, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.